What's cracking, yo? Welcome back to Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic. Wow, Stephen A. Smith has been on fire lately. This is like my third video just reacting to his show, so the Stephen A. Smith show, where he uploads on YouTube. It sounds like he is extending and inviting open hand out to Shannon Sharpe to come over to, I guess, ESPN or First Take once his tenure and buyout is complete with FS1 Sports and Undisputed. Anyway, before I go on, let me check out what Stephen A. Smith actually had to say.
Shannon Sharpe is leaving FS1. Do I have an idea of what happened? I'm Stephen A. You damn right I do.
This muff.
Do I know for certain? No, I do not. If I knew for certain, would I tell you? Hell no, without their permission. Because Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe could be at FS1, at least for the moment in the case of Shannon Sharpe. I've gotten to know Shannon Sharpe a little bit over the last few years. I genuinely like him and respect him. He is a three-time Super Bowl champion. He is a Hall of Famer. He is one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the National Football League. And I personally think he's done a hell of a job on television and with his podcast club, Shay Shay, which, by the way, I'm going to be a guest on in the near future. And he's also going to be a guest on here in the near future. But I sincerely hope, regardless of what opinions I'm about to give, that y'all don't make the mistake of assuming that I'm going to speak against my man Skip Bayless. That is not going to happen. Skip Bayless and I have disagreed on many things, on the air and off the air. We're natural-born contrarians with one another. We don't think alike. We don't act alike. We don't like the same things. We don't vibe with each other in terms of our ideas and our belief system. But you remember when I told you that I was the star of the #1 sports morning show for the last 11 and a half years? The first 4 years of that was with Skip Bayless. I'm never in that position if it were not for Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless asked me to come on First Take. Skip Bayless permitted me to come on First Take. Skip Bayless fought for me to come on First Take. Skip Bayless played a role in restoring my career that I felt had wrongly been taken from me. I will never disrespect him. It will not happen. Never. But that doesn't mean I can't disagree with him. This is not one of those times because I don't know what happened to tell you I agree or disagree. Here's what I can tell you. When news was announced that Shannon Sharpe had been bought out of FS1 and he would be leaving at the conclusion of the NBA Finals, there were two things that came to my mind. That's a big loss for the show Undisputed, because Shannon matters, and that I don't know what his plans are. I don't know what he's trying to pursue. I don't know what he's after. But if Shannon Sharpe needs me, I'm happy to be here for him. And if that included him wanting to come on First Take, the bosses at ESPN know that is something I would support. Not every day, but one of those days every week, yeah. And why do I say not every day? Because you need to understand something. I apologize for this to no one. I love me some Michael Irvin. That's my brother, the playmaker. And I understand he got himself embroiled in some situation, and I have no clue what's going to happen with that. That is above my pay grade. Whatever they discover, they discover. Remember, I get to hand pick who's on First Take once they're in-house for ESPN. I don't get to bring them from the outside in without the boss's okay. We have to be honest. I'm not the boss. That's Dave Roberts. That's Jimmy Pitaro. That's Burt Magnus. That's those dudes. I answer to them. It's not the other way around when it comes to all matters pertaining to ESPN. But they know where I stand. I love me some Michael Irvin. I always want my brother with me. He ain't the only one. Keyshawn Johnson, that's my brother.
Stephen A., where you going with
back
this?
over 20 years, and I think he's excellent on TV discussing football. Ryan Clark, the pivot, Ryan Clark. The NFL analyst extraordinaire, Ryan Clark. Marcus Spears, a.k.a. Swagoo, my brothers. My brothers. And they ain't the only ones. Dominique Foxworth, Damian Woody, Bart Scott, and all these. I got an A-list roster. I ain't even bring up Dan Orlovsky, who is great. I didn't even bring up Mina Kimes. I didn't even bring up Jeff Saturday, who I hope returned. I miss Jeff Saturday on First Take.
Come on. Get to the point.
I don't give a damn what happened with him in Indianapolis when he became a head coach. Took the job in the damn middle of the season. That's a different matter than being First Take. Being on First Take, hell no. But I'm just telling you right now, to be clear, if Shannon Sharpe wanted to join that roster, there's no resistance from Stephen A. I got love for Shannon Sharpe. I respect the hell out of him. And there's no doubt the man knows his football. But I ain't looking for anybody every day. Because I got a whole host of contributors that I don't ever want to let go of. Having said all of that, was I surprised at all that Shannon Sharpe ended up departing from Undisputed on FS1? Absolutely not. Not at all. And this right here is the reason why.
Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me,
all right. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead. Let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Well,
you could have came back, Skip.
Well, I thought,
Skip, just let.
I didn't know you were going to bring up.
No, I was just going to say, Skip. I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where DeMar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the bosses wanted you to offer explanation, so clearly somebody...
No, they did not have... Nobody...
Let's go, Jen.
I'd be a damn liar if I told you
Skip is...
that when I saw that transpire on national television, that I didn't believe in my heart that this day wasn't coming.
Oh, man.
I don't know what went on. I don't know what happened. I have not spoken to Skip Bayless. I have not talked to Shannon Sharpe about this. But I am telling you, I know Skip Bayless. And when that moment happened, I said, this is over. This is over. Because when something like that happens in a public platform, there's certain things that you just don't recover from relationship-wise. That was just my belief, based on my experience, no knowledge of the situation, because ain't none of my business. And that's what happened. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. Skip is always going to be a winner in television in my book. And I'm quite sure even the names that have been thrown out there, LaShawn McCoy, Scottie Pippen, Antonio Brown, and Brandon Marshall, Victor Cruz, whatever they do, they do. They do what they do, I do what I do. But with people clamoring for me to comment about it, I just wanted to make the point that I'm never going to disrespect Skip Bayless. It's not going to happen. I don't know what happened, and if he doesn't want to tell me, he doesn't have to tell me. We haven't spoken in a while. And Shannon's business is Shannon's business. You saw him in the news. House just got robbed. Somebody robbed like damn near $1 million of his jewelry. He was thankful they didn't kill his dogs, according to the reports. That was publicized. Obviously, this happened, brought out by FS1. I can't imagine that it was something that he'd want to happen, having that daily platform available to him. The reports are already out that Skip Bayless and Skip Bayless alone will say yay or nay to who Shannon Sharpe's successor is. But Shannon is not somebody that's going to be out of this business. No. Club Shay Shay ain't going anywhere. And his talents, which have elevated as a commentator and pundit over the years, that's not going anywhere either. He'll be somewhere. Hell, in at least some kind of capacity. For all I know, it might be First Take when all is said and done. I have no idea. I have bosses to answer to. But I wouldn't resist it if they asked him to show up for at least one day a week. Again, I'm not looking for anybody 5 days a week. I like my roster of contributors. I like the diverse voices and all of that other stuff. It's the way it should be, in my opinion. At least for now. But I like Shannon Sharpe. And I'll help him any way he asks me to.
Interesting. I'm pretty sure Max Kellerman, how Max and Stephen A went out, that has a lot to do with why Stephen A doesn't want to see the same person every single day on the show, and he'd rather have different people rotating in and out, different cast of people. With that being said, listen, aside from Club Shay Shay isn't going anywhere. It's a extremely, extremely popular platform now. A lot of people trying to get on that show. He has a lot of followers, a lot of subscribers, a lot of views. Club Shay Shay is here to stay. So aside from that, Shannon Sharpe has, like he said, he has become one of the premier and most sought after, most watched sports personalities on TV now. Skip bringing him on board, his popularity shot up. People fell in love with his character, his jokes, his charisma, all that stuff. Shannon Sharpe has now reached a point where he's too big of a name in this realm that they work in. He's one of the top names, and he's too big to just be a rotating person on First Take. Now, he's a big enough name where he needs his own show at this point. Not the backup, not the co-star. If he's going to be on ESPN or a different sports network, he will have his own show. That's just point blank, period. He calls the shots, everything. Now, with him having his own show, he can still pop up on First Take every now and then for a topic or two, But rest assured, he's not just going to be, his primary job is going to be on First Take as a rotating person on one of the cast of people. No, his name is too big for that. He's bigger than Kendrick Perkins. He's bigger than JJ Redick. He's bigger than Jay Will. He's bigger than Malika Andrews. I don't know what would be on that show now. He's bigger than all those guys put together. His name, it really is. So he ain't going to just be this is my job at ESPN. I'm a rotating ESPN First Take guy. No. He'll have his own show, and he may pop up as a guest star appearance to give us an input on something every now and then. All right. So I'm going to make that very clear. Kind of like how Stephen A. does. ESPN First Take is his main show on the network, and he'll occasionally pop in on, I think he's might have popped in on Max Kellerman, Jay Will, and Keyshawn, maybe. And then what's the other show with Will Bond? I can't remember. But he's popped up on other shows occasionally. He's like, hey, we got Stephen A. Smith on the line. Let's see what he has to say about this. Shannon don't need First Take. Shannon going to First Take is a boost of adrenaline for First Take. Shannon's not getting anything out of a situation with First Take, but First Take would be getting everything out of a situation with Shannon Sharpe. That's how big Shannon Sharpe has become. Now, what I wouldn't mind seeing, to be honest with you, I think Shannon Sharpe with Max Kellerman on an everyday debate show would be entertaining. I think Shannon and Max would be a healthy fit. One of the problems Stephen A. had with Max is, how should I say this? I think Stephen A. was a little bit jealous of Max in some capacity. How a lot of African American people constantly say Stephen A. Is a buck dancer. Stephen A. be out here cooning, as they say, and they be like, Max Kellerman is more black than you. You won't hear it on the networks that job, but if you're inside these platforms and these media and looking at how people are interacting with each other and what people are saying about these people, that was the general perception. And I know Stephen A. heard that. Stephen A. didn't like that. On top of that, he didn't like Max Kellerman's takes. And I don't think he always liked how intelligent Max Kellerman sounded. Probably made him sound less intelligent. Not saying that he is or he isn't, but that's what I'm saying. That's my personal opinion based on things I've talked to people about and read and seen. But Shannon ain't got that in him. Shannon isn't spiteful. Shannon isn't a jealous person. That's not his personality. Well, he has an ego to an extent. He doesn't have an ego like Stephen A. and like Skip Bayless have an ego. Stephen A. and Skip's ego are ridiculous. But I think Max Kellerman's mannerisms would not be a problem for Shannon Sharpe. I think they would have a very healthy relationship. That's just my opinion. But even more so, more than I want to see Shannon Sharpe and Kellerman on Shannon's show on ESPN, I'd much rather see Shannon Sharpe with his own show at ESPN with the co-star being Mad Dog. Shannon Sharpe and Mad Dog might be the winning formula if Shannon Sharpe wants to go that direction with his career at ESPN with his own show. Shannon Sharpe, go get Mad Dog. What's his name? Mad Dog Russo? Go get Mad Dog. Go get him. Go get him. I was actually disappointed that originally when they brought Mad Dog on to First Take, I thought he was going to be a regular with Stephen A. And then I realized, oh, they're really going this, many people on the cast direction. But if they're going to do a one-on-one, give me Sharpe, give me Mad Dog. That's my final pick. That's who I want to see up there more than anybody else. Deep down inside, I know it burns Skip Bayless because he knows that Shannon Sharpe is the more beloved person at that table on that show, and he does not like it. He sees everything. He knows everything that's going on. He sees everything. He sees where the popularity lies, where the love lies, where all the attention is flocking to. Deep down inside, that burns him. I know it does. He can't stand it. It's his ego. It's his ego. But I'll tell you what, I was shocked that Stephen A. I guess I just assumed it was kind of like the NBA, right? Where reaching out to somebody from another network might be considered tampering. But maybe those rules don't apply. Maybe that's just an NBA thing. That's just me assuming things. But if there is some type of rule about that, maybe it's allowed because the buyout has more or less been, agreed upon, and it's just a matter of time now, waiting for it to finish. So maybe they allowed, an ESPN representative to come out publicly and say these things. I don't know. If anybody knows how that world works with contracts and, tampering, even if it's a thing, let me know in the comment section because I have no idea. Either way, wherever Shannon does outside of Club Station, I'm talking about on a major network, I'm pretty sure he's going to have his own show. And I hope, and I'm sure he understands what his worth is, what his value is as a, sports commentator / analyst / personality. I'm sure he knows what his value is. So anything less than his own show, he would be an injustice to himself. All right? Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified. Let me know what you think about it. And I catch you on the next one.